Looks horrible, doesn't it? Yeah. So, ignore the eye. That's from contact issues that have been lasting for days. I finally have been able to put in a new pair so I can see more than 2 feet in front of my own fucking face. However, so swollen and messed up. Took some anti-inflammatories, hoping that's helped, but we shall see now, won't we? I wanted to do a video that was a little more serious. Well, there's a lot more serious, and that is I've wondered from a lot of people, and I'm going to ask people to let me know when I upload this, but what is your first memory? Like, that first clear-cut case of I have acquired the enough input, stimulation, whatever, to maintain a memory from whatever point in your life. Most people I hear around 5, 6. My brother, for one, can't remember shit for some reason. He wasn't abused. He just has a memory of a fly. His starts around 8 years old when he starts actually having fluid memory. But before that, he doesn't have recollection of things that have happened, which I'm glad about, because my first memory was at 3. Yes, you heard that right. 3 years old. And I maintain that this is not secondhand experience because there's too many people, scattered people, that would have different clips of the event of the night that I wouldn't have been able to pull from one thought brigade, if that makes sense at all. My point is, I wasn't influenced. This wasn't an influence. Hold on. I'm hoping we heard all of that, and it wasn't terrible. One second. Okay, so audio did pick up. Sorry for that brief intermission. So like I said, my first memory starts when my first memory is at 3 years old. I'm not going to claim that I've had completely vivid encounters and recollections of every single experience I've had 3 onward, but 3 is my first clearest, undeniable memory. And I'll play it from start memory to end. It starts with my brother and I were 3 years apart, so he wasn't even a year. And he was approaching a year, I was approaching my 4th year, so 3.5 years old for me. We're getting out of the bathtub. My brother's been dried off and put in his little onesie. I am being dried off, and my mom has my clothes out for me, and she's giving us the bath, when there is a scream, and it was my grandfather, who may he burn in hell when he does die, screaming from downstairs, screaming my mother's name. And my mother quickly, she handed me my clothes, or handed me the towel to finish drying off, and she ran downstairs. I had my brother with me. We were together. I was the responsible older child, so I always helped out. So there was a scream, my mom's name. She runs flying downstairs, and I take my brother, I get dressed, and we go downstairs. And we're together, and at this point, all the adults in the house, my dad's at work. It was just my mother and grandfather in the house at the time, and I bring my brother downstairs, and my mom's in my grandparents' room, and she is performing CPR now on her mother. Her mother was a very unhealthy, not taking care of herself diabetic with multiple other health problems to go along with everything. But she didn't take care of herself, and that to me now, and to everyone else in my family, we understand that she didn't take care of herself. She didn't do a good job of keeping herself healthy, which is why at 51 years old she is now succumbing to a massive heart attack in her bed. Probably dead before my mother even made it down the stairs, but my mother was trying in vain to give her CPR. Everything's hectic. My grandfather's on the phone with 911. You know, they're luckily very close. It was a very smaller town community where I lived over 20 years ago. And so everyone was quick response. They knew our family, they knew our house. Very quick response. So I remember going into the foyer and going to the big doors and opening the doors to let the paramedics and the cops in, and them shuffling us kind of to the side as they bring in the gurney and they bring in, you know, all the equipment, the defibrillator, you know, things like that. I know now that basically they never got her back. She was transported to the hospital only as a, what do I want? As a measure of kindness. I don't know what else to say it, or simply to be pronounced there. She was DOA for the paramedics in their consideration, I believe, but they had to take her to the hospital to be pronounced, and I wasn't taken, obviously, to see her. This is where maybe the community here, if I post this and I get views, maybe you can help me. A cop notices my brother and I in the heat of the frantic attempts to save my grandmother, and with people coming over, and I'm not crying, it's the goddamn eye. I might be crying soon, but I think I'm okay now that I'm on meds to talk about these things. But this cop notices my brother and I, and he takes us. And he takes us to his squad car, and he puts us in, and he gets, obviously, where my grandmother lived, which was just a couple blocks away, my great-grandmother. Just a couple blocks away where she lived, and so he took us in the squad car. I think he had me in front holding my brother, if I remember correctly, or else we were so tiny we could fit right next to each other. And on the way over, he's showing us his lights and sirens and all the cool stuff in his squad car, because we're crying and we're upset at that point. But this cop, this was over 20 years ago, so I don't know if I could find him, but if I could, I would like to thank him for helping two terrified children. We were scared to death. We were losing somebody, and in a way, I think we knew that. In a way, I know I did. Fusses and panics like that with police and sirens and hospitals and ambulances, they became quite the normalcy in my life for a few years after that, because everyone kept dying. But this is the 3-year-old memory story. So I remember all that, and I remember basically up to the point of being dropped off at my grandmother's house. But besides that, I remember, you know, the horrible scream, the getting out of the bathtub, my mom still toweling us off, and getting my brother and myself going down the stairs, watching my mom screaming at my grandfather what to do on the phone, and her, you know, performing CPR, and it was an ugly mess, and it was absolutely horrible. But that is my first memory. I would like to hear from other people about what their first memories might have been, or what their first memories are. What age you were, what level of detail do you remember about the situation. Yeah, just let me know. I'd really be interested. And for anybody who knows about potentially how to contact a police officer after 20 years, I mean, I hope the guy isn't, he wasn't that old. I think he was a young guy. I think he was my age that I am now back then. So, I mean, at worst, he's in his mid-40s. I mean, worst case scenario, he may be 60, but I very much doubt that that man, that kid was barely wet behind his ears as far as I remember. So, yeah, so let me know if you know any ways to search that up. And let me know what your first memories were. Thank you for listening to everything and putting through with my eye. But otherwise, peace, my friends. I say good morning to you waking up. West Coast time is 5:09, so East Coast motherfuckers have already been up for over 3 hours. But I've been up for over 3 hours just because I can't sleep. So this decided on while I'm watching a video about exposing some dumb shithead YouTuber named Alex Jones. No, his Austin Jones, not the crazy fat man. Frogs are turning gay, man. The pedophile YouTuber that got caught, Austin Jones or whatever his name was. But nice to know that YouTube supports such people on their platforms. I know this guy finally got his shit taken away, but it took way too long to remove this guy, knowing that he said he liked 14-year-olds and liked looking at their buttholes. Usually not something a stable grown man says. But, you know, live and learn, right, YouTube? Peace, guys.